Are you struggling, like I am? Are you struggling to attract the right clients? Well, that is what we're talking about today. So thank you so much for joining us. Should be a fun episode. Let me, it takes me a minute here. Let's see, I just want to forward this into my group. 1 second. So I love going live using Zoom, and I don't know, for like 2 months, I don't know what happened, but I cannot seem to figure it out anymore. I need to spend some time on it, and I really just haven't. So this is me trying to pretend like I'm not blind. So today we're talking about how most coaches struggle to attract the right clients. Let me know if that is you. If you are here live, drop me a hashtag live. If you're here on the replay, thanks for watching, and drop a hashtag replay. I want to see all of you guys here. I had something ringing in my ear. It stopped. All right, perfect. All right, so the joys of going live. And I can't imagine for people that never go live or that really get nervous going live. I know this must be terrible, and I must make it look worse because I fumble and mumble every single time. So it's not that stressful. It's really not. And I don't know why. I don't know why I have such a hard time lately doing it, but it's not as bad as I make it look. I promise. Anyway, all right. So today we are talking about getting this. Oh my God! Let me find my. Oh, I need you to give me 1 second because I'm like one big technical mess. So before we move on, yesterday I had a workshop, also issues. So in case anybody's wondering, we all have issues. So don't stress yourself out. If you have any types of issues when you're going live, just keep going. People want to see the real you. People want to see the authentic, that's like the buzzword right now, right? The authentic you. Well, this is the authentic. every time I go live, I'm like a crazy person going live. We have an amazing topic today, and I wrote down like this whole thing on it, and apparently deleted it. So I'm trying to find real quick my notes. Hang on 1 second. Anyway, so one of the biggest problems is niche. And we talk about this a lot. And the reason we talk about it a lot is because I have known companies, right? Companies who've been in business 10 years that don't have all of this together. And definitely with coaches, most of us, I don't want to say everybody, but most of us are very curious. We're excited. There's so much going on. We have, I always like to say multi, right? Multi-passionate. And there's just so much to think about and to do. And, I could be doing this and this and this. And I could be talking to this person, that person, this person, that it's really hard for us to niche into something that makes sense. So I want to talk about that for a quick second before we get into it. One of the things is our biggest fear is if I say I'm doing this, then I'm excluding all of these other people. So that's not really true, because even if you're speaking to this one person, if these people like the topic, they're still going to be listening to you. They can still say, oh, that works for me. And in marketing, this is like the the biggest thing that you really want to have done is people to say, she's speaking directly to me. She's speaking directly to me. So that's, in a nutshell, what you want to happen when you are putting out your content, when you're speaking to people. And the way you do that is through your messaging. Your messaging has to be super clear. Let me preface that by saying, if you are not clear, there's zero possibility, zero, that you are going to go out there and be clear in your messaging because you don't even know what it is. So coaches have been around for years, and a lot of them get going and get some clients. They've got things trickling in and they're kind of surviving, but they're not thriving. And I talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh, I get all of my clients on referrals. And hands down, that's the best way to get clients. They're already pre-sold, right? But can you rely on referrals? I mean, can you rely on somebody is at a party at this very moment talking about you, and one of the people at that party is going to resonate with what she's saying and come hire you tomorrow? Can you rely on that happening every day or every week or every month, depending on how many clients you need? My guess is no, you really can't. So you need to have a system in place to be able to get those clients coming in on a more regular basis. But before any of that will work, you have to have the foundations. And I know that I focus on that a lot, and it's because we skip over things. We're like, I got that. I heard a quote, butcher it, don't even remember who said it, but basically, like the worst 4 words in the English language or the worst sentence in the English language is, I already know that. You don't want to just skip over things like niche, like clarity, like foundations. You just don't. And why is that? Because I can almost guarantee you that if you know them, if you think you know them, but you did it 2 years ago, you are a completely different person today. Your business is totally different. Hopefully, right? Hopefully it's totally different. So whatever it was that messaging was 2 years ago, I am positive that it's moved a little bit. It's evolved with you. And so you want to go over these things all the time. It's not something that you just set and forget and that's it and you're done with it. You don't want to do that. So even if you're like, I've got this, I've already done this, I'm sick of hearing it, you want to revisit it all of the time. And marketing in and of itself, the practices are tried and true. They're from the 1800s. I mean, marketing is marketing. Somebody was telling me the other day, trying to argue with me about the concepts of marketing. And I'm like, the base concepts are the same. Yes, it's true. There's nothing, wow about it, which is great for you and I. The tactics are new and how you kind of put them together is all new. But reality is that a lot of the foundations, a lot of the strategy is there because it just works. And so if you can focus on that part of it, and when you build a house, if you can focus on that foundation, the rest of it you can build on top of it once it's strong. But if you build it, have you ever played Jenga? If you build it on a rocky foundation, it might tumble. Maybe you won't tumble, but maybe you're going to be like this the whole time. That's horrible. You don't want to feel like that, right? You don't want to feel like this the whole time you're there. So you want to get those foundations. One more tangent and then we're going in. So I own a language school too. A lot of you know that. A small language school in Panama, mainly for Spanish speakers to learn English. And one of the things that is taught, if you've ever learned another language, you know this. Like I learned Spanish my whole life and they taught ser and estar. It's the verb to be. In English, same thing. And you wonder, like, God, why are they teaching this over and over and over? And I know why. After doing it myself, I know why. Because number one, I still don't use ser and estar correctly. I still don't. And that's why people try to teach it to you over and over and over, right? Same thing with the verb to be. People teach it to you over and over and over because you're still not using it the same. Well, that's kind of the foundations of your brand, your personal brand, your marketing, your business. I'm going to teach it to you over and over and over because you may not be doing it right. You may have done it so long ago, you forgot what we're even talking about. You sort of wrote it down, but you can't really verbalize it. So it's not coming out the way you want it to come out. You have to be super clear on that. And roundabout with all the tangents that I just went on, I want to make sure that one of them was clear. If you're super clear on the person you're speaking to, other people can still hear you. If you're super clear on this person, it does not mean that you can't start on this one later. But focus on this one until you're at 100,000 and then start the next one. And that will make it a little bit easier. So let's go. You know I love my acronyms. We are going to start with the first letter, and that is N. I'm just going to give it away today because I'm going to say it a million times and I'm just going to do it. So we're doing the niche framework. Right? So 5 steps to clarify your niche and attract the right clients. If you're not getting the right clients, listen up. All right. So your niche isn't just about who you serve. It's about the transformation that you provide. So if you're saying coaches, but you're not telling the coaches what you're going to do or how you're going to move them from A to B, that is part of the niche. It's the two of those combined together. People get this all confused. And I have a little handout, teacher, a little freebie I can give you later that kind of goes through different parts of it. So we want to make sure that your niche is uber, cannot stress that enough, clear, so that when you tell people what you do, they say, oh my God, I need that. Oh my God, I need that, right? All right, so N is our first letter, and that is for narrow your focus. Again, we want to start out narrow because I want to explain to you why, because I've fought against this for forever. And I just met somebody yesterday who I can tell is fighting against this. And when you do that, you get in this spiral. And until you get your groove on, you're going to stay in that spiral. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have any clients. You might have some, but you're going to stay small. You're going to stay, like I say, playing small, right? You're not going to be able to go big because you don't have the basics down. And this happened to me. I can speak from it. I was going for number one that it wasn't really like getting me, or it was me, but anyway, long story short, you want to know who your audience is. And the reason you want to know that is because you need to be able to get in their head. What is it that's keeping them up at night? What is it that they're thinking about? And, we say that pain is a bigger motivator, I guess, than what they're going towards. I'm a super positive person. So I like to talk about, like the B, what you're going towards, the transformation. You want to talk about that piece of it, but you also want your scenarios that you're talking about to include what's keeping them up at night on the pain side. So what are they stressed out about? For example, I said a couple of times some different scenarios. Some coaches who've been in business for a couple of years and they're in that spiral. They've gotten the clients, they've got their business is going, but it's not consistent. They don't have it systematized and they can't figure out what's wrong, why. And a lot of it comes back to the foundation. So you want to know what's going on in their head. God, why can't I get this together? Why is everybody else, when we get down on ourselves, it's like everybody in the world is doing it great. The reality is, if you look out, this is the sea of coaches doing exactly what you're doing. There's bazillions of them. You want to pop up into here, and it's not nearly as hard as you think it is, but we stay stuck here because we spiral. We're afraid to niche. We're afraid to call out who we want to talk to specifically. So you want to get super clear on who that audience is and what's going on in their life or lives or business or example, if you're doing fitness, right? Is it that, you know, a 50-year-old man is, you know, not having sex with his wife because he doesn't feel sexy anymore, or 50-year-old woman, you know, not having sex with her husband because she's not feeling sexy anymore? Is it because, you know, a 35-year-old guy is overweight and he's not going for better jobs and better positions because he's insecure because of his body? You know, there's a lot of these things going around. I just did 2 of insecure, but whatever. There's a million problems you can have. It could be, you know, a 75-year-old man can't pick up his grandchildren, you know, stuff like that. It could be a million and one things, but what are those scenarios? And it's going to be different. You know, the 75-year-old man that can't pick up his grandchildren isn't going to have the same health and fitness problems or goals or, you know, be right as a 25-year-old. And so the A is important because the 25-year-old is at a totally different A than the 75-year-old male. And the B is totally different. You know, the A guy, he wants to run marathons. The young guy, to get to B, his B might be marathons. His B might be conquer the world. You know, the 75-year-old is like, I want to pick up my grandkids. I want to live long enough to enjoy them getting married, whatever it is. So those A's and B's are totally different. And it doesn't mean that you can't help both of those people, but how you speak to them is totally different. And so you want those scenarios to always be about your main target audience. What stage they're at. Are they beginners, mid-level, or advanced? Let me talk about this for a second. You're better off staying not so here and not so here, right? You're better off staying like here. Why is that? Because if you're here, these people can hear you. These people can hear you. Some of these people are never going to make it here. You know, so hopefully you can see me. I can't see myself on the screen. Hopefully some of those people are never going to make it here. You can have like preliminary stuff to get them here. But where is your A? Where is your B? You want to define that as much as possible. Doesn't mean that if there's somebody below that A, they can't come into your world. No. Maybe you have other things for them. Maybe you create a course instead of part of your, you know, signature program. Maybe you create a course that you can give them until they get to that piece. Same thing with above. Maybe those ones way up there, you can create a higher level where it's got a lot more done for you, or it's got a lot more VIP stuff to it. Decide not decide, but know, like, where is your audience? Where are they at really? And then the big one, what do they struggle with? What are their biggest pain points? Again, if you've been in business for 5 years and you've been evolving, you may not have the same audience with the same pain points that you did 5 years ago. So it's worth revisiting. It's worth understanding. If you've evolved, your audience has probably evolved with you. And maybe you're at a different stage. And maybe, you know, you're talking to those people when you really want to be talking to these people. And maybe that's the problem. So when side tangent, when I worked with small businesses a lot more, for me, it's like a puzzle to figure out, you know, where those black holes are. Where is it dropping off? Well, it's the same thing with this. If you're not getting clients in, there's a reason. And it's not you, right? It's not you. I mean, it could be, let's be honest, but 9 out of 10 times it's not you, especially if you used to be and you're not anymore. You know, maybe it's because you're talking to those people that you used to be talking to, and your audience is now here. They've evolved, and you're still talking to those people. Whatever it is, it could be that. It could be a million and one things, but that's what you need to figure out. And if you're all over the map, if you have an audience from the 25-year-old to the 75-year-old, or in my world, you know, maybe before ever starting a business to, you know, a $2 million business, that's going to be really hard to bridge that gap, right? So to depending on what you're doing, but you hear me. So figure out what they struggle with. And then I have what I call a gut check question. So gut check question, write it down. If you told someone your niche, would they say, oh my God, I need that? If not, it's too broad. Get more specific. Get more specific. So think about that. If you told someone your niche, would they say, oh my God, I need that? And now I hear what you're asking. Your niche, why would they say they need that? Because remember, what I said was, your niche isn't just your audience. It's your audience combined with the transformation you provide. Drop me an aha. Drop me an aha, because I don't know how long I didn't get that. But too long to talk about, right? So drop me an aha if that's an aha for you. But your niche is really your audience, and then that transformation of what you do for them. All right, we're going to get more into it. Don't stress yourself out. So, example, I help coaches land their first 5 high-ticket clients without paid ads. That could be a niche, right? That could be a niche. All right, so we're on to I. Are you taking notes? You already know it. I know, drop it down below, but you already know it. I already told it to you. I is identify their core problem. So we kind of mentioned this, right? We want to talk about what it is. So I just want to, this is a conversation that happens in my house. I say, I have to go to this webinar. And the questions I get are, do you have to or do you want to? I want you to really start thinking about this question. Do you have to or do you want to? So when I say I have to go to this webinar, it's always I want to go to this webinar, right? You don't have to do anything. But you want your problems that you're solving to be on that have to side. Because if it's a want to, it's going to be someday, maybe, when I have the time. You want it to be a problem that they have to solve. Example, you've been in business 5 years and you are still getting sporadic clients. You still are not going to bed like super confident that you're going to make as much money as you need to make next month. That is a serious problem, right? That is a problem where you go to bed every night stressed out because at some point you're going to have to decide, am I going to have to go back and get a job and say, this just isn't for me, or am I going to make this work? That's really, really bad problem. And most of you listening to me, whether you've been in business 5 years, 1 year, 6 months, 10 years, you're thinking, yeah, that happens to me, right? That's a big problem that you're desperate to solve. Because when you are not feeling like, that sense of relief, comfort, I know next month I'm going to make X amount of money. I know that in 3 months when I go on vacation for 2 weeks, I'm going to make X amount of money. And maybe it's 2 weeks less, or maybe it's I'm going to make X amount of money because it doesn't really matter that I'm going on vacation. Where are you at in your business, right? So you want to know what they're desperate to solve, what keeps them up at night. And that's my favorite phrase. You'll hear me say it a million times, because what keeps you up at night is the thing that you're really stressed out about. You may not be talking about it to your boyfriend, your husband. You may not be talking about it to your best friend. It may be one of those things where you don't actually say it out loud. That's all right. But it's the one that you think about when you're all alone at night. That's the one that you're desperate to solve. And I know for me, that's the one, right? Maybe I try to ignore it all day long. Maybe I get busy and I, gloss over it. But When everything's quiet and nothing else is going on, that's the one I'm thinking about. So what's that one problem that they are desperate to solve? So in my case, the coaches that I speak to are desperate to solve the problem of getting consistent clients into their business, right? They want a business, a real business that they can rely on, that they can count on, that makes them feel safe and secure and at night. And, on to bigger problems. We always have problems. We're always going to have problems, but you want bigger problems. That's me. I just want bigger problems. All right. So can you clearly articulate the problem that they're having? And if you have an audience, or if you can borrow somebody else's audience, in a Facebook group or something, get it in their words. How do they articulate that problem? What are they saying about that problem? Like when I phrase it to you about my own business, I know what it is that they're spinning, that they're overwhelmed, that they have this sense of uneasiness or almost shame. They've been in business for 2-3 years and they're not getting the amount of clients that they need to really thrive. Right? How many of you guys hear me, feel me? Yeah, we've all been there. So that is a big problem. And the clients that come to me, the coaches that come to me, they're desperate to solve that problem. So if that's you, give me a hashtag desperate, right? Give me a hashtag desperate. Yeah. If you know what your clients are desperate to solve, write it in the comments. I want to see it. All right. So can they clearly articulate it themselves? Your clients, can they articulate it? Right? Because if they don't even know they have the problem, this is a whole nother game, right? If they don't even know that they have the problem, that's a whole nother game. And it's a game that you don't want to play. It's way too expensive for you to get in that game as a one-man show, as a coach. So if your clients don't know that they have it and can't talk about it, even if, it's in secret, you don't want to go there. It's just too difficult to solve that. All right. So what happens if they don't fix it? This is like a discovery call kind of question, right? What happens if they don't fix it? Well, I mean, in the case of my clients, it's JOB. It could be back to that JOB. It could be, not being able to retire when you want to retire. It could be not being able to take vacations and travel the way you want to take vacations and travel. It could be having to tell your kids that, you can't help them as much as you would have liked for college. A million things, right? But you want to know what happens if they don't fix it. What does that look like today? What does that look like a year from today? Because right now it's already a problem. It's keeping them up at night. But what does that look compounded over time in a year? It's ugly, right? It starts getting icky. All right, so next one, feel, seen, test. I want you to do the feel, seen, test. So if your audience reads your content, watches your reels, hears your presentation, whatever it is, right? Do they feel like you're inside their head? You've heard me say this a million times. Do they feel like you're inside their head? Like, oh my God, she's listening in my living room. That's what you want. So feel, seen, test. Do they feel like you are in their living room listening to their private conversations, or in their bed, in their head, right? In their bed, in their head, listening to what they're talking about with themselves at night when nobody else can hear them? So you want to use their exact words. You want to use their exact emotions. I mentioned shame because I know that some of my clients feel like that. I don't even want to tell people. Like, it's a shameful feeling that I should be way more advanced than I am now. Just because I said it out loud, I just want to say, if that is you, don't feel shame. You have no idea how many people, how many coaches are there. When I talk about this the sea of sameness, they're all there. They're all there. Very few coaches pop out into here. And that is reality. That is just reality. So it's not that hard. If you want to get there, you can get there. But it takes persistence, consistency, dedication, probably having somebody to push you, pull you, call you out on your crap. It probably takes all of that, right? Anyway, you want to use your exact words and the emotions that they feel. I don't know if you remember me talking about the emotion wheel. Look that up, the emotion wheel. Use those emotions and the ones like that are like, wow, emotions. So if they say, I'm, oh my God, it should be a drinking game when I yawn. All right, if they say, I'm overwhelmed by content creation, don't say you lack an optimized content strategy. Right? Like, they're like, what? What is she talking about? That's not in somebody's head. Do you hear that? You lack an optimized content strategy. What? All right, so here's an example. Don't say you need better marketing strategies. Okay, number one, nobody wants to hear that. Don't tell people you need, like, I know I probably said it throughout today, but you shouldn't. You don't want to tell people that because people don't want to be told what to do. They want to be seen and heard. They want to know that you understand them, and then they want help moving forward, right? So say you're tired of posting every day and hearing crickets. Let's fix that. Can you feel the difference in that? Let me do it again. You need better marketing strategies. I mean, this feels like you're getting scolded and you're in kindergarten. You need better marketing strategies. I feel mean saying it. All right. And then the better version of that is you are tired of posting every single day and hearing crickets. Let's fix that. So do you hear, number one, the positivity of it? Number two, the emotion behind it in their head. Oh my God, that's me. I am so tired of posting every single day and getting crickets. Right? You can see how they would say that. So you're using their words in your copy. You don't even need a whole copywriting course. All right, let's go to the next one. C, craft your solution. Remember, your solution is they're here. They want to be here. What's that transformation? Where are you moving them to? What's that transformation? So what is your specific method, process, or framework? You want to know that. You want to talk about it. You want to be able to show that you can systematically, step by step, move them from A to B. And if you have never done this in your business, it will change your world. Why will it change your world? Because it helps you feel confident. It gives you the clarity. If you have it in your head but have never put it on paper, it's a totally different thing when you try to get what's in your head onto paper. You will stumble and fumble until you get it down. So if you haven't done this, if you don't have a specific method, process, or framework, get one. Do it. Let me help you if you want. DM me. I geek out on that, as you can tell. All right. So you want to know, how are you going to guide them from A, where they're struggling right now, to B, your solution that gets them where they want to be? Do you hear that? Your solution that gets them where they want to be, the transformation. So what's the unique value that you bring in that others don't? I want to just give you a couple of examples here because everybody's like, I don't know what makes me unique. I'm going to tell you, if you are a coach who does, let's talk about somebody that everybody's going to know, like an Amy Porterfield, okay? Amy Porterfield is like somebody that you can compete against because she can't do what you can do anymore. She's too big, right? She's too big to be able to do what you can do. So what does that mean? That means that your differentiator in between her and you is that you have the time. They have access directly with you. That's huge. So many people want that person that can really hold their hand, that can really get with them. So if you've got accountability included in your programs, if you have more touches, if you have worksheets or workbooks or any and all of that, right? It's a combination of everything that you do and who you are. You've had that experience before, maybe, or you've worked with 16 other clients that have done exactly that, or, whatever it is. Just think of all the things that make you unique in what you do. And then that's going to be part of the solution that helps them know that they want you to get them there, right? I mean, I talk about, me being nutty and crazy and spinning and stuff like that, because I understand that that's where coaches are. You've got to have the system. All right. So example. Transformation test. Write this one down. If someone hears your offer, can they immediately see the before and after result? Can they immediately see the before and after result? I don't know if I have it on here, but I will. I'll give you some examples. And if you want that handout, let me know. All right. So example, I help people with social media. So generic. It's like an exaggeration of generic, right? I help coaches turn LinkedIn connections into paying clients with a 3-step DM strategy. Ooh, now we're talking. You can see how that gets way more zeroed in. Now, I personally love LinkedIn, but I don't use LinkedIn in my offer because to me, it's strategy, right? That strategy can be used wherever you want to be. So everybody has their little angles on how they do it, but think of how you want to do it. It doesn't have to be LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok or whatever. All right. H. Hone your messaging. So we're at NICH, right? And it almost sounded like the alphabet. NICH. All right. Hone your messaging. That means like zero it in, right? Get it really dialed in. So is your niche statement clear, specific, and results driven? Remember, what's that transformation? What are the results? What's the B? Where do they want to be? If it's being able to pick up their grandkids, say it. That's the thing that's in their head. They want to be able to pick up their grandkids. If it's being able to sleep at night because you now have a way to get clients consistently, say it, right? All right. Can someone repeat it back without being confused? Can somebody repeat it back without being confused? So these are the questions you're going to ask yourself. Is your niche statement clear, specific, and results driven? And can someone repeat it back without being confused? I'm going to tell you a few different reasons why that question is so good. Number one, obviously, if they can repeat it back, they understand it. I'm going to just talk about my school. So one of the things that we also do in the school is SAT. If you're from the United States, you know what this is. It's like an entrance exam to American universities, and it's English and math. So just so you know, I never did the math side, but the English side I did do. And on the English side, one of the things that we taught, and in TOEFL also, is active reading. I don't know why, but they don't teach us in school, at least not when I was in school. Active reading is basically being able to ask yourself a question and then say the answers, but in your own words. And this kind of reminds me of that, which is why I'm saying it. If they can repeat it verbatim, it's memorable, right? But if they can repeat it in their own words, then they really got it. So memorable is amazing. And as cheesy as I am, you know that I love the memorable. But if they get the concept of it and can say it back in their own words, That now we're doing our times 10, right? We're 10xing it. Why is that? Because go back to my SAT reading thing. If you can read something and say it verbatim, that's like almost copying and pasting. You're going to forget it. But if you read something and then you can say, hey, this was about X, Y, and Z in your own words, you're going to retain that a lot longer. Same thing with this. So you want them, the catchiness, love it, cheesy, blah, 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 definitely. But do they grasp the concept? Could they repeat it back to you? And the way that you make it graspable is to make it super, super clear. I work with these people and I move them from here to here by this, right? All right. Does your message pass the 5-second test? Meaning someone hears it and immediately gets it. Now we always hear, like, you want to intrigue them. You want to give them, something to ask questions about. Not with this. Not with this. You want it to be dialed in, super clear. Oh, okay. Ya punto. They get it. You want to intrigue them, follow it up with something else that might intrigue them. But you do not want to be, catchy, memorable, super cutesy, all of that. That's not the goal here. You want to be as clear as possible so that they get it right off the bat. 5-second rule, they get it. They don't say, what does that mean? So, you've seen some people's profiles where they'll talk like, I don't have one written down, but I don't know, fluffy is a word that comes to mind, right? They'll say like fluffy things or I help you feel better. That's very generic, right? What could that be about? I help you feel better. It could be me as a business coach helping you feel better because now I'm getting your business like moving and systematized and like, you've got clients coming in. That's how I'm helping you feel better. It could be a health coach by, I don't know, making you cut out sugar. Now you feel better. It could be a trainer by getting you fit and looking good. Now you feel better. There's like 1,000,001 things that could be about. You don't want 1,000,001 things that it could be about. You want to say it and you want them to get it right away. Exactly what you do. All right, let me give you some examples. Okay, so we've all heard the messaging formula 1,000,001 times. I say, use this to help you craft it and then maybe go back and rewrite it so that it doesn't use the exact same formula. But I help who? So I help someone solve problem. What problem do you help them solve so they can achieve result? What results do you get them without the big frustration? You've heard this 1,000,000 times. If you are no longer using this sentence, I think that's probably good because depending on what niche you're in, people might get sick of it, but it does make it very clear, right? So let's do some examples. I help wellness coaches attract high-paying clients. So I help who? Wellness coaches. Attract high-paying clients. So their problem is that they can't get high-paying clients or enough without, and then their big frustration is resorting to sleazy sales tactics. That's one of the things I say sometimes. All right. Another example. I help new consultants package their expertise. So who are we talking about? New consultants. The problem they solve. Package their expertise into premium offers. So these are consultants who are new. And remember, I was talking about earlier how I think you need to have your methodology, your way to make it happen. There's words for that. I can't think of them at the moment, right? When I was talking about that, that's packaging their expertise into premium offers. So your step-by-step process. I help new consultants package their expertise into premium offers. So that's their problem. They're like, I know what I do, but I don't know how to tell anybody what I do, or I don't know how to sell it to anybody. You see how that is? Package their expertise into premium offers. So, and now we're going without the big frustration. So they can ditch hourly rates. So their big frustration is they're charging hourly and they can't make enough money, maybe something like that. I think we could dial that in even a little bit better, but depending on the person. All right. So you really want to dial it in. You want to leave no room for guessing. That's the best thing. I'd like to say, ask people who don't know what you do, because it would be great if you could go to a party, tell somebody what you do, and they totally understood. However, in some cases, even if you're not using jargon, it might get hard to understand somebody. I think you could make it as clear as humanly possible so that somebody not in your field would still understand it. So let's go back to that one. I help new consultants package their expertise into premium offers so they can ditch hourly rates. Somebody not in the field, I think, could understand that, right? Ask around, see if you can. If you can, holy grail it to everybody in the world understands exactly what you do, that is the best possible scenario. But at the least, you want everybody that you speak to that's in your field or area to be like, oh yeah. And not your peers, but your audience. Not your peers, your audience. That's who it's important, right? Having your peers get it is great for collaboration and everything else, but you're not selling to them. You want your audience to get it. So just think about that. And if, okay, never mind, sidetrack. All right, so last one is E, establish authority and visibility. Ooh, I'm cutting it close here. I don't know why it goes so long. All right, where does your audience already hang out? Where do they already hang out? Find out. Podcasts, Facebook groups, LinkedIn. What content makes them stop scrolling? And how can you tell that? Just go look at content in your niche and see what's getting the most hits, likes, shares, comments, and then see, okay, that's hitting. That looks really good. How can you show up consistently to build trust? So you need to show up consistently to build trust. All right, visibility check. If someone Googles your name, this is the one that I like to use. If someone Googles your name or searches your social, would they immediately understand what you do? Would they immediately understand what you do? If not, that's your step number one, right? So action step, pick one main platform, create content that speaks directly to your niche's problem, right? Audience and problem. Get visible through collaborations, guest posts, or podcasts. So at least pick one of your platforms and start cranking out some content. Do a schedule that works for you. If you're like, oh God, I can't do it every day. Okay, don't do it every day. Do it once a week. Can you do it twice a week? Do it twice a week. Can you do it 3 times a week? Do it 3 times. However many you can do consistently over and over and over is how many I want you to do. It's not going to be too much, I promise you. But it'll be too much if you say I can do 8 and you do it for a week and then the next week you drop off. It's not what we want. We want consistency. So, when you're trying to run a marathon, you don't go out and try to run a marathon that day. You start with walking around the block, maybe. Maybe you walk around the block for a week or 2. And then you bump that up. Do this the exact same way. Do 1 post a week. If you were like, I could clearly do 1 a day, no problem. Okay, do 1 a day, whatever it is. But do you, because whatever your consistency is where you need to be. And I'm not in your life. I don't know how many kids you have, how many, parents you're taking care of, how many animals you've got around you, how many jobs you have. how many side hustles you have. I don't know any of that. So I'm not going to say you should do this, this, and this. No, I'm not here to say that. I'm saying you want to build your authority. You want to be speaking to your niche, right? Which is your audience and the transformation that you can move them to. You want to be speaking about that in your social media. All right. So don't say I'm a coach who helps people grow. Grow fat, grow what? No, just kidding. You can say I help online coaches get clients using organic content so they can hit 10K months without paid ads. I could easily say that one, right? Be an easy one. All right, time to put it in action. Drop niche down below if you want my niche mastery checklist. It'll help you refine your niche, attract the right clients, and position yourself as the go-to expert. And that is what is going to help you start attracting the right fit clients, because they're going to know she's speaking to me. She's in my head. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day. Next week on Elevate and Engage. Let's see if I have it up. Next week on Elevate and Engage, what do we have? Consistency secrets, how to show up without burnout. Ooh. Oh my God, this one's like written with Erica all over it, right? Consistency secrets, how to show up without burnout. Comes that one, it should be a good one. One other thing, in 2 weeks, I have another workshop. Those are Zoom only, the workshops. So if you want to be on that workshop, if you missed the last one, just drop me a DM and I will send you the link. It should be up later today, but just drop me a DM. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Here's to you niching down. Ciao, ciao. You can hop off because it'll take me a year or two to figure out where I'm at. Hopefully I am. Hold on. Here we are. All right. Ciao, ciao.